Light it, 2:32 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who would have thought today would turn out like this? May I? Ah! I guessed correctly. Alright. Okay. I get a feeling she's going to be around for a while. I don't have girl voices in me. How am I going to do this? Also, she doesn't look 7 years old. She's a pretty big 7-year-old. That's a pretty big 7-year-old. I know anime ages things up, like holy crap, but damn. Come with a voice as we go. Here we go. Huh? What? She's a magician. Please pick a card. Yeah, she's a magician. Oh god, girl voice, girl voice, girl voice, girl voice, girl voice, girl voice. Woman's voice, woman's voice. Yoshi says just do Maya's voice because Maya's her mama. Okay, alright. What's Maya's voice again? It's been a while. It's been like months. Hello, sir. Please pick a card. There you go, go with that. We'll do that. What's all this about? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely and the game is yours. That's all. An ace! The ace of spades. The ace of spades. An ace. Where do I remember that card from? I just remember Motorhead. Oh, it's the red card! It's the red card that got switched for the blue card. An ace. Where do I remember that card from? Oh yeah, eels. That's how you do the voice. Eels, honey. Eels. That's how you get her. Yep, thanks. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It's 5 aces in all. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear to you. There's blood on it. The missing 5th ace. Wait, this blotch of red. This blood? Eels, honey, you have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. Okay, she's way older than 7. I know you can do it. She had a growth spurt at 7 years old, apparently. This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl, I'd seen her recently, but where? Really? 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 That's when I made the connection. She said her father... Where'd it go? Bloody ace added to the court record. Motorhead. Here we go. Oh, no save point. Let's keep going then. No, that's not Pearl. We would know it was Pearl if it was Pearl, because she'd be super cute. All this is 7 years later, so I guess it's... Teenage Pearl? Oh god, how do I voice a Teenage Pearl? Light at 2:45 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Alright, now then, if you would, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. The witness state his name and occupation. Is this first necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. There was a parrot. There was a parrot. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. So, pate or pate means bald? Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it. Phoenix? What the balls? I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright! What do you think you're doing, Wright? Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off. Except for that one time. That one time, being the instant when he was hit. Oh. When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have to be at the scene of the crime, at the time of the crime. In other words, you'd have to be the real killer. Is what you're trying to say. Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin. I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? Oh, I assure you I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. He's gonna lie like crazy. Everyone lies. What's the point of the oath is a good question. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? Honest question, how does the oath even work? If you're not a Christian, right? Because you have to swear on the Bible in America. What if you're what if you're not Christian? What if you're atheist? I think they'll make you swear on the Quran and stuff if you're a different religion on times, but there's things where you can't swear on anything. So how does that work out? That fateful night. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me. So I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright, holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, and so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. He had no tells. So you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Apollo? You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh! Mr. Knight, the defense should do their cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. Can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. But it's not a parrot. Fateful night, here we go. Time to press everything. Gently. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say? I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that. Then you knew the true nature of your client's job? Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense that he'd know. They were friends after all. Word from my friend to return to the club. You see, I feared that this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score. I see. What happened then? Also, where's the card at? I went, press. The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The black marketeers used it, I believe. Why'd you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? Huh. I didn't want to upset Mr. Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes, what if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far everything he's saying makes sense. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really? No need to shout, Justice. I was just getting to that part in my testimony. Ah, there he is, the coolest defense in the West. We know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand. Some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. With friends like these, who needs enemies? By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. Ha! Rhyme. And then Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? Those were the only three at the scene of the crime? Yes, as far as I saw, at least. Then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah yes, this mysterious 4th person. Who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary. How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace, right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? Yeah. Save. In case it's the wrong time, do it. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace? Receive from Mysterious Girl. Could this be the missing 5th ace? I can examine it real quick, just look at it. A single drop of blood marks the front of the card. I tried to mouse wheel this thing. The Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. I'll do it. My reason is, this. Is that an ace? Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade. What? What? This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Could this be the missing 5th ace? Now how did he get it? Inconceivable, how could you? Oh, he's not looking too great. What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card. It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bowl Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock in trade, after all. No! Impossible! Unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence! It's a fraud! A fraud? How can you be so sure? Well, what? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason? For the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. What are you going on with this? Where are you going with this? Take another look at the photo and at the victim's hand. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor. And a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down to the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Why? Why hide the blood? I'm confused. Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right, regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see. It is? How? This is baseless conjecture. Baseless. Phoenix again. With the pointing! Oh, I assure you it's quite based. What? It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Oh god, we're going 3D. We can see the Matrix. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it, in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit. The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses, whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card. I don't understand. Him? The second witness's position is the problem. The second witness, that would be Mr. Gavin, yes? The second witness's position is far less problematic than yours right now, Justice. Or perhaps perilous is a better word. I cannot see what the blood-stained card has to do with the second witness's location. I'm afraid you're more than in peril of a penalty this time. Yeah, I don't understand. Your Honor, one more chance, please. I suppose. You think it do think it over, Mr. Justice. I don't get it. I don't understand this one at all. I'm just gonna save. Go with the witness, why not? The witness's location is clearly at odds with something. Ah, balls. By witness, you mean Miss Olga Orley, correct? That's right. When it comes to cards, it's quick fingers, Orley, or no one. I see. And? I was supposed to say something else. A meaningful observation would help your case considerably. Yet, do you not sense a great feeling of potential in his silence? Potential for a whooping. Penalty, yes. Whopping penalty. Your Honor, please give me another chance. Very well. Give it some thought this time. Alright, let's go with Phoenix this time. I don't get it, so I'm just gonna put Phoenix. Well, for one thing, the killer's in the wrong place, I think. You think? Mr. Justice, your job here is not to think, but to know. Oh, just looking at you reminds me of the old days. Not the good old days, per se. How does a good old penalty sound? Let's try this. Let's try that one more time. And Mr. Justice, think before you sink. Oh my god. What? There. All that's left. Wasn't that... Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Well, look. The victim was struck on the head, sending him back into his chair. You think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him? I still don't get how that works. I still don't get the logic. Oh. Take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not on the cards. Oh, I assume blood splatter would just over towards the cards, but it only got one card. How would it only get one card? I don't know anymore. The blood would fall on the floor, not on the cards. Why, that's right. So what does this mean? Oh! Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh, man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. I can just... Okay, why not? The chair was facing the other way. It would have to be. Oh god, it just... Oh, why did it just... Alright, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. Look at the diagram once more. We know now the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? Victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses. The killer's position? The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it'd be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. I heard the victim said they turned to face the wall in the middle of a game. I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. Oh my god, we're doing more of this. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking on the diagram. What? But... There's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing toward the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front? In his lap. The killer had to be standing, well, here. You get points for flair, but that's about all you get. I thought I was on something there, too. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. And are you claiming that the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above? Huh? It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know. At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this? Oh! Now it's coming together. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Ah, Your Honor. What? There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I do my best. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. There's more? Making sure I'm still recording. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here. Which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard. There, in front of the window. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been shown here. Been as shown here. The killer slips right there and then hits him, though? And everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. What's this? What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang! Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Do we need to point at this even? Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, or the second witness? Oh, I don't know! You know what? It's gotta be the killer. No, there we are. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Oh! That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What? What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court. Exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Order! This is a court of law and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigative team at the Bush Bowl Club. They've examined the cupboard in the white hideout, Your Honor. Oh, what did they find? Well, Your Honor, it turns out there is a secret passage behind it. Oh. What? Oh. Ah, yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that, now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops. And enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for the few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith and a date with Destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came and he took it. Eek! What? What did you do that? What? Wait here, I'll help. I'll get help. Oh, that's Phoenix. Wait, I'll get help. Miss Olga Orley was not cold. Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shoddy Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Thought he could take his glasses off. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly, truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne! Yeah? Yes, Your Honor? The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Ah! Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately. Ah! Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. Not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence? Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon. And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes, the fingerprints on the bottle were upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demands an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? Oh, I see how yeah. See how the caught fish squirms to the last? Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation, just like that. Yeah, just like that. What? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down? Other than to... gulp. Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer here. There, in plain sight. How about you just say your answer in plain words? It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice? Mr. Gavin said that the court in this case could demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? Good question. Save, because I have no clue. He said he put the card in the bottle, didn't he? Alright, skim save. Hey, here we go. Now seems like the perfect time for a penalty. Dang it. What did they expect? I have no idea how to explain it. You're thinking too hard, Apollo. The answer is right in front of you. Just reach down and pick it up. Or try picturing situations in which one might grab a bottle upside down. Alright, to just pick up the damn bottle and take to the thing. It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Yeah, I said this at the start of this whole thing! I said this, like, at the start of this case! I said this! Excuse me, on the floor. Yes, now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. Ah! See? You can actually go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here. Playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. Recall our dinner that night? Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph? I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. Which means the bottle with the card is still in place. Order, order, order. What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? That means the card with the bottles at the Borscht Club. Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle. Where's your proof? Proof? Well, that's, we have proof. It's at the Borscht. As I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. Nope. Phoenix knows where it is. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the... There he had the note on it. When you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? Ah, yes. I have your memo about that here. Retrieve the bottles from the under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. But are you going to dust that for fingerprints too? I'd be surprised if any were on that but his. Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake. True. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yeah? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humor me. Jesus, man. Mr. Wright. That bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. It's easy. Pop the cork. Or it's just right there. Okay. The card. Ah! There's something inside the bottle. There it is. What's this? That card! It can't be! Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment? Miss Olga Orley? Yes, our little swindling Devotchka. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Rad lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. And Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony? I had happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. The 5 of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Oh, he's got telekinesis! Ah! Oh. That is all. Well, damn. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge. Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little tete-a-tete, right? This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? I believe this time we finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin? He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now. I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? None that we know of. Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any light on that matter. This is a mystery. About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Shady Smith. They couldn't go with shady guy? His occupation was listed as traveler. An odd profession to be sure. That's all we know about him. Another mystery! I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good, Mr. Wright. Yes? 7 years and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with such significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated. This courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me. A dark time is coming for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own court system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Our work lies ahead of us. And I, for one, am looking forward to it. Well, this seems like a good time to announce my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Confetti! Jesus, this was a trial. Court adjourned. My throat is shut! Light at 4:28 p.m. Why didn't it end 4:20 at 4:20? That'd be great. So light at 4:28 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Thanks, Apollo! You came through, just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered Mr. Gav, the killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability? Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder if he means... Yeah, how come he... Why does he know Apollo has Ultra Instinct? How does he know? I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? But even without it, Phoenix saw this. Yeah, of course it's true. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer? Right. Today was full of questions without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me, I met the girl whose picture is in your locket. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Huh? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. What? Wait, that's perjury! You testified, you said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. What the hell was this mystery? Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo? Yes? How about coming to work for me? Huh? You mean at the Wright & Co. Law Offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but you're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Then you notice in today's trial? There's a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet this was the forged evidence. Yeah, it's this. You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Yeah, I figured that much. I figure they stole it from Gavin, though. Leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence, it's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. They did that to catch him. My verdict was already heading down 7 years ago. Then you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney? Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? No, it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? Did he hit him? I punched him! Phoenix is used to getting beat up. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Nobody's happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I want to be Phoenix. I want to be Phoenix. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that," next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. Gonna go ice this now. Also, he uppercutted him? You went for the Shoryuken? It is a Capcom game. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. The end of the whole game. We're done. Time for Phoenix 5. Yeah, Phoenix 5. Turnabout Trump. Trump card. Turnabout corner. What kind of corner? See the picture? I hate that they got rid of having pictures. Like, really? It's so much cooler when there's pictures. Alright, so that is the game for tonight. Oh my god. We'll do more tomorrow. Oh, well. Ooh, same time, same channel. Tomorrow night. So that right there is the game for now. I had time. I had time. I had fun. Hope you had fun watching. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun to come by. And see you next time.